Hey guys, Lonnie, Real Alcoholic. All right, we're on page 91, working with others. You'll see this right here, qualifying. Man, I get a lot of flack for that. It's like I get told we don't qualify people to come to AA. We don't keep anybody from coming to AA. Who are you to judge, and who are you to say who is or who isn't an alcoholic? Um, I let that shit roll over my back, man. It's AA is wide open. The doors of Alcoholics Anonymous are wide open to anybody and everybody, especially at our open meetings, right? Our closed meetings we have, 90% of those, they're just like an open meeting. Nobody knows who's coming in or not. You know, nobody's kept from a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. But there's some important things here, which is why we'll talk about this qualification when we meet this person. And there's reasons why we do it, and there's reasons why it's in the big book. And let's get into that. Okay, so we've been through the first part, okay, this introduction part, where we've got all the information we can. We got some background history on this person we're about to meet as much as possible. Sometimes we can't do that, but if we can, we do. Now, see your man alone if possible. Okay, this is where we're going to meet our person. Our first meeting with this man. At first, engage in general conversation. That seems like a real human thing to do. Hello, how you doing? What's your name? My name's so-and-so. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? How long you been living here? Oh, yeah. I lived in that city for a while. Do you know so-and-so? Just general conversation. At first, engage in general conversation. After a while, turn the talk to some phase of drinking. Tell him enough about your drinking habits, symptoms, and experiences to encourage him to speak of himself. Okay, so after we get through this general conversation period, we're going to turn it to drinking. We're going to turn the conversation to drinking. If he's communicative, right? Some people just don't want to talk. If people do want to talk, give them a sketch of your drinking career up to the time you quit. All right, we're giving them a quick sketch, man, of our drinking career. I'm not going to sit there and go through an hour and a half of my life story. I mean, my complete life story, it was hard for me to do an hour and a half for these videos. My complete life story could take 5 or 6 hours. So we want to give them a sketch of our drinking career, just enough. And we're going to say nothing about how we recovered, okay? We're not going to say how we quit. We're not going to say how we recovered. We're just going to talk about our drinking career and how we used to drink. If they're in a serious mood, we're going to dwell on the troubles. If they're in a light mood, we're going to be humorous. I really love those. I really love those drunk guys and those drunk women I talk to. And we can just cut up and laugh about our our drinking escapades. And we'll get them to tell some of their stories too. So when this person, okay, this is the third thing I got to watch out for, is when this person sees that I know all about the drinking game, commence to describe myself as an alcoholic. Now, this person we're talking to, they have to see that we know about the game. Okay, that's the reason why we tell our war stories. People talk about, oh, well, I don't talk about my war stories. I get right in the solution. Good, buddy, that's fine. Okay, but the book is telling me that I want to give them a sketch of my drinking career. Okay, why? So they can see that I know all about the drinking game. I know what it's like to go to make sure I'm at the store before 2 o'clock in the morning so I could have enough liquor to last until 6 in the morning when they reopen. I know what it's like to wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I've been sleeping for 12 hours and I wake up at 2 in the morning and I start drinking again until I pass out at 5 or 6 in the morning, right? We're going to tell our stories so that they know that we know about the drinking game. Now, what I do with people that, we've got our different stages of alcoholism. Some are not into that chronic stage yet. So what I can do is I can look back on my life and I can tell them some escapades or how I used to drink when I was at the stage that they are at. Okay? I'm not there to impress them with how hard I drank or how long I drank, that I'm a real alcoholic, right? I'm trying to find some common ground so that they know that I know about the drinking game and where they are at. Okay? Page 92. We're going to tell them how baffled we were, how we finally learned that we were sick, the struggles we made to stop. We're going to tell them about the mental twist that leads to the first drink of a spree. We suggest you do this if we have done in the chapter on alcoholism. Okay, chapter 3. When we're talking to our person, once they see we know about this drinking game, all right, we're going to start talking to them about all the times we tried to stop and could not. This peculiar mental twist that they talk about. Chapter 3, man, almost the whole second half, of that chapter is about relapse. And yes, before we came to Alcoholics Anonymous, whenever we were dry, we had quit drinking and we went back to drinking, that is a relapse. All right, all this bullshit I hear about, well, you didn't relapse because you weren't working a program. It's a relapse, man. We had quit drinking and we went back to it. So whether you're in the program or not, it's the same It's the same peculiar mental twist. Before we got in the program, and those of us that relapse after the program, it's the same mental twist that they talk about in chapter 3. So we're going to talk about this mental twist and the inability to stay stopped, if we were even able to stop, okay? And so it's real important that I know and I understand this chapter 3. So if he's alcoholic, he will understand you at once. He will match your mental inconsistencies with some of his own. All right, now we're forming a common bond. They see we know about the drinking game. They see that we know how hard it is and how impossible it is for us just to simply put the booze down and go live normal, happy lives. This is a big one, guys. Highlight and underline and double highlight. You can parentheses. Next thing I'm going to do is, if you are satisfied that he is a real alcoholic, begin to dwell on the hopeless feature of the malady. Show him from your own experience how the queer mental condition surrounding that first drink prevents normal functioning of the willpower. Okay. If we are satisfied that they are real alcoholic, the book is telling us point blank, I'm not going to spend my time with somebody if I'm not satisfied they're a real alcoholic. Well, how can you judge, Lonnie? How can you judge? How do you know? Because I know what alcoholism is. I know what the book tells me it is. If this person, 2 questions on page 44. That if we take a drink and we have no control over the amount we take, or if we find we cannot stop altogether, we're probably alcoholic. It's really that simple. And if I'm just not going to assume that this person is alcoholic and needs a program, Alcoholics Anonymous. We have heavy drinkers. We have heavy drinkers that can just put the bottle down and quit. This person might be a heavy drinker and they just might need to put the bottle down and quit. And maybe not. Maybe they've tried quitting and they can't. Maybe they tried it outside of AA. Maybe they tried it in AA. And they always go back to that first drink. Then we probably got a real alcoholic on our hands. And so there's a certain amount of qualifying that does need to be done before I'm going to take some time, some energy, some effort. Because if somebody does not need me or this program, then I'm wasting my time. I am fooling myself, and there might be somebody else who needs and wants this program. So we're going to talk about how this mental obsession, okay, always led us to this first drink. Now, don't at this stage refer to the book. What? Man, I made the habit for years. Now, it was a bad habit. First time I talk to somebody, I'm assuming they're an alcoholic. I'm assuming they want this program, and I'm whipping the book out on them. I'm trying to explain to them what we do when we do a step 3 and 4, 5, 6, and 7. No, man. Don't at this stage refer to this book unless they have seen it and they want to discuss it. Now, be careful not to brand them an alcoholic. Let them draw their own conclusion. Another mistake I made. I was branding people alcoholic. Oh yeah, you're an alcoholic. Oh yeah, you're an alcoholic. Even if I was convinced they were alcoholic, it's up to them to draw their own conclusion. All I can do is share my story, ask them these questions, and let them draw their own conclusion. If they stick to the idea they can still control their drinking, tell them they probably can, if he's not too alcoholic. But insist that if he's severely afflicted, there may be little chance he can recover himself. So somebody I'm talking to, if they don't want the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, if they don't need a spiritual program of action, that's all fine and good, man. I need to quit, and I'm just going to quit. Good. Okay, if I've talked to you up to this point, and you just still feel like you can quit on your own or control it, awesome. We have nothing else to talk about. Been nice meeting you. Hope I see you around. We may stay in touch. We may not. So if they're hanging on up to this point, we are convinced that they're alcoholic. They're showing some interest. They're showing some interest because they find that we know about the drinking game. We know about this strange mental twist of going back to the first drink, the insanity. Okay? So we're going to continue to speak about alcoholism as an illness, a fatal malady. Talk about the condition of the body and mind which accompany it. Here's where we go into some knowledge of the doctor's opinion. Here's where we go into this this chemical makeup of our body that reacts differently to alcohol when we put it in our system. And we go into the nature of this disease as a medical condition. We talk about this phenomena of craving that happens physically when it enters our body. Very important. We're not jumping into spiritual matters yet. We're not jumping into the solution yet. We want a person to understand the physical condition and the fact that it is progressive. If this person is alcoholic, it is progressive and it is fatal. Okay, so we got them hooked on that. And we can talk to him about the hopelessness of alcoholism because we offer a solution. You will soon have your friend admitting they have many, if not all, the traits of an alcoholic. Now, if I don't know what the traits are of an alcoholic are, then I had better go back and do some reading concerning doctor's opinion, Bill's story, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, okay? I'd better know what the traits of an alcoholic are. If I can't see that in myself, I sure can't see it in another person. And I surely can't relay this message of alcoholism and what alcoholism is if I don't know what the traits of an alcoholic are. Okay, page 93. Let's start right here at the bottom of 92. Even though your protege may not have entirely admitted his condition, he has become very curious to know how you got well. Let him ask you that question. Tell him exactly what happened to you. Stress the spiritual feature freely. Now we're getting into the spiritual part. When they ask what happened, when they ask how you did it, okay? Remember, I tell you all the story. My grand sponsor was in the hospital, and all these people from the home group were coming visiting, and they were telling him the story. And they were telling him that they got better, and they were telling him, right? And so he told Dr. Bob, he finally broke down and told Dr. Bob, he said, man, this is all great and wonderful. All these guys are wonderful, come and visit me and telling me that they overcame this, but nobody's telling me how. He said, how do I overcome this? What did y'all do? And at that point was when him and Dr. Bob ended up getting on their knees that very same day. So once a person asks that question, how you got well, we tell them exactly what happened. And we stress the spiritual feature freely. If the man be agnostic or atheist, make it emphatic that he does not have to agree with your conception of God. He can choose any conception he likes, provided it makes sense to him. The main thing is that he be willing to believe in a power greater than himself and that he live by spiritual principles. Once again, spiritual principles are these 12 steps. If a person believes that these 12 steps are a higher power and they want to live by them, that is great. If their higher power is a group conscious and the wisdom of those that went before them, that is awesome. I belonged to an atheist group for a long time, not because I was atheist, because I was the friendliest people I ever met in Alcoholics Anonymous. And we are not going to buy this bullshit that I got to convert somebody to Christianity. I got to convert somebody to my particular system of faith. All right? Big Book is telling me clearly that if they are agnostic or atheist, make it emphatic that he does not have to agree with my conception. Let's let that sink in. We have some clear-cut directions. We have some clear-cut suggestions. Once this person asks, how do you do it? Once they are to that point where they are willing to at least listen to how you did it, we're going to stress the spiritual feature freely. We already know what their conception of God is. We already know where they're at spiritually. And so before they can even start balking or pissing and moaning, all right, we make it emphatic that they do not have to have a conception of God that I have. We are not here to convert people. We are not here to endorse or oppose any system of faith. We're carrying a message of Alcoholics Anonymous, is what we're doing. And so at this point, we're going to stop right here, okay? The main thing is that he be willing to believe in a power greater than himself, and that he live by spiritual principles. Awesome, guys. Man, that time went fast. Okay. We'll see y'all next time, and we'll pick up on page 93. Take it easy. Bye.